What's going on, everybody? It's Antonio from Ikari Press. We're on the Indiegogo $59,109. Santana Baby Triple Cover Pack is, of course, still ongoing. If you want it, head on over to Indiegogo or just type in IkariPress.com. It'll take you right there. Link, of course, is in the description. All right, you know I had to come back on this one. Here it is, part 3 from Razorfist. Michael Jackson Rebuttal Part 3, Skeeving Slumberland. Oh my goodness. 31 minutes, 33 seconds. And the revelations. Okay, so let me go back. So this is going to be well, it's actually the fourth video, but one video actually got me in a little trouble with YouTube. But of the other two videos that YouTube did not find objection with, um, this would be the third in that series. So, and the first one, almost 9,000 views, over 5,000 views on the second one. I suspect this video will get a little spicy too, because one thing I found funny is people just want to argue. And if anyone that has watched the other two videos that I did noticed, my videos were critiquing the Leaving Neverland documentary. It wasn't I think Michael's guilty. I think Michael's innocent. It wasn't any of that, because it didn't matter what I'm thinking. I always wanted to know what you guys think, and boy, you guys all have different opinions. And what's so funny is to look in the comments section, and you guys are fighting with each other. You guys are like, Michael's a pedo. And then someone comes in, Michael's innocent. And then someone else comes in, no, you're an idiot. Michael's a pedo. And it was just going back and forth about who's right, who's wrong. People linking to this, people linking to that. Did you see this? And I'm like, I did the second video, Razorfist, where he's talking about the Leaving Neverland documentary. He was specifically addressing the Leaving Neverland documentary. Guy comes in, he said, man, that clip's months old, man. And he's like, so none of that stuff is real. I was like, okay, let's actually look at that. Part 1 was done 2 years ago, which I mentioned in the video. The second video that he did was done a month ago. It was done right before the documentary was released. And even though it was a month old and the documentary had not been released to the public yet, but everything in the second video addressed the Leaving Neverland documentary, which is why I did the video on it. He couldn't dispute that. Okay, so I was like, okay, whatever. Here it is. Now, apparently, from what I saw, Razorfist actually did a live stream or something like on Periscope, where he actually watched the entire thing, I guess, with his audience. He watched they sat through the whole 4 hours and streamed it. So I was like, oh, okay. I think he has a link to it because he mentioned it in the thing if anybody wants to watch it. Um, but after this, he said, you know what? I actually got to go back because some things have happened since the documentary aired. And a couple things, because I did another video where the producers of The Simpsons, what was it, James L. Brooks, Matt Groening, they came out and they decided, they say, you know what, that season 3 episode that we did with Michael Jackson, that's going to be erased from history now. So they pulled it from streaming services. It's pulled from syndication, and the future box sets from season 3 that will be released will no longer have the Michael Jackson episode in it. Uh, Also, some people were trying to get services like Spotify and iTunes to take Michael Jackson's entire catalog off of the services. They have not done so far. And the articles have come out that in fact, since this negative publicity has come, his sales and his streams have like doubled and quadrupled and stuff. So it had the opposite effect. People are like, we're going to listen to Michael Jackson. Now, there are some radio stations that pulled his music. There are some radio stations like, okay, we want. I saw there was like a British station. They said they wouldn't play Michael Jackson anymore. Maybe a few more that kind of fell in that vein. But I saw there was a black station down in Texas, and they defiantly were playing his music. They were like, "We're not going to stop playing Michael's music." So it's like you're getting mixed reactions on all this. But I'm like, this is taking on a life of its own. The ratings for the special were only 1.3 million views. And I think that's the first night. They didn't get that kind of number on the second part. But the first night they got 1.3, but they lost to like Real Housewives of Atlanta and stuff like there were and there was even and Razorfist even pointed out there was a rerun of the Rock's movie Skyscraper and it beat it. And all that, that kind of thing. So it didn't it didn't get the impact that they thought it was going to get. But here's the thing that a lot of these news services that reported that the ratings were bad didn't get because, well, I will say this: it was trending on Twitter the first night. The second night, it didn't trend. You can check that. That was but the first night, leaving Neverland, that hashtag, it was trending. You know, but the second night, the Leaving Neverland hashtag didn't get enough to trend. So a lot of people checked in, and then they, of course, watched Oprah's interview after she got a decent number of views on that. And that I actually found someone loaded it up on YouTube. I'm sure it's illegal, but I love YouTube. Some of them always rip your content off and load it up. But I wanted to see. I don't watch Oprah's channel, and I actually don't have her whatever. They didn't have the O in my cable package, the O network, and but someone took it and, like I said, put it up on YouTube. So I'm planning to check that out because I heard it was spicy. But Razorfist actually had some. He had a couple of clips in there, and he had some really good information that the general public does not know. So again, his channel is called. Let me make sure. His channel is called The Rageaholic. You see it right there. And also, if you just type in Razor Fist, his channel should come right up. So if any, I'm telling you, go because all three. Matter of fact, watch all three parts. This video again is 31 minutes, but it had a lot of powerful information in there. Um, he had a 25-year-old clip from Rush Limbaugh, um, where I guess it was from the '94 trial or whatever, and Rush Limbaugh was defending Michael Jackson, but it seemed like he was just basically taking a swipe at the press for being inaccurate and how they kind of it was crazy. I was like when I saw that clip, I was like, man, I keep saying Razorfist is the receipt king. My God, I was like, where he digging up these old ass clips? These clips are 26 years old, 27. I was like, man, he got old ass clips. He got all kind of court transcripts and everything. I was like, man, that is fantastic, the work he's done. Because I'm telling you, man, this is whether you if you think Michael did it, there's nothing I can do to change your mind. If you think Michael's innocent, there's nothing I can do to change your mind. And again, I say this again, most of this video is about the documentary. I'm not trying to defend Michael. I'm not trying to denigrate him. I want to specifically talk about the Leaving Neverland documentary. And it has some problems. And that's why Razorfist is so compelling because he's like, okay, one thing I didn't know when I appeared on Ethan Van Sciver's channel. He's got like 113,000 subscribers on his YouTube. Me and him were talking about the Michael Jackson Leaving Neverland documentary. Okay. And that video actually did get demonetized. YouTube thought I got a little spicy with that, but I mean, I basically just took the clip of me and Ethan talking about the documentary and various points. And obviously, if you saw the documentary, it got a little graphic, and we probably were a little too descriptive in our conversation. But a lot of people watched that video. Um, But one of the things that Ethan talked about, and I knew exactly what it was he talked about the part in the documentary where James Safechuck, talked about that he had gotten married to Michael Jackson. They had some kind of ceremony, they had the rings and all that. Apparently, that was shot after the documentary was done. It was, and Razorfist showed that Dan Reed admitted that that particular scene where he's holding the jewelry and all that stuff, that was added after the documentary was done. I guess he felt like he needed a couple of better, more compelling shots or whatever. It's like, okay, let's add this and all that. And so that was a pickup shot. So I was like, wow, okay. Um, he also talked about Ben Shapiro, and that was a big thing because Ben Shapiro reacted to the Leaving Neverland documentary, and he was like, "Yeah," he said, two things are true. If I'm not, two things are true. Michael Jackson was a talented musician, but he was also like a pedophile or something like that. The exact clip is, of course, in the Razor Fist video. Um, and so Razor Fist spends a few minutes debunking Ben just because he felt like, Ben's a pretty smart guy, and he felt like Ben is just going off emotion, and he's hitting him with, like, again, court transcripts, witness statements. He even had like a 60 Minutes Australia interview with the one of the maids that had, I guess, she had gotten fired from Neverland, and she was one of the ones that said that she had saw Michael Jackson having sex with, like, Macaulay Culkin and all that. And obviously, Macaulay Culkin testified, and that got thrown out. And then Michael Jackson sued her for damages. She owed Michael Jackson, if I'm not mistaken, she owed Michael Jackson at least $100-some thousand in damages, and she never paid him because it was so funny. The reporter even asked her, it's like, do you still owe the Jackson estate money? And she was like, I probably do, but Michael's dead. And I was like, wow. Another thing that was huge, the documentary over in the US, it ran for what, 4 hours and 4 minutes? So it's a little over 4 hours long altogether. Okay. They cut some of the footage out in the UK. Why? Because number one, the Jackson family has filed a suit because they had added some concert footage of Michael Jackson without clearing it. Pretty sure HBO is about to cut a check on that because I think Razorfist said they have until the 21st of this month, HBO's lawyers, to respond to the Jacksons' lawyers. They aired the footage without the permission. They don't have a contractual right. So yeah, HBO's probably about to have to cut a little check and settle something. But to alleviate that, they cut um they cut out a little bit of Wade and some of the other little parts of the documentary that people have started to debunk when it aired over in the BBC. So BBC4 aired it. They cut out like 45 plus minutes of footage. I think it's only like the documentary that aired over in the UK is only like 3 hours and 15 minutes. It's, like I say, 4 hours and 4 minutes here, but that's a huge chunk of footage because they didn't use 45 minutes of concert footage of Michael. Some of the things they cut out were, again, things that were skeevy, where you hear the guys, whose mother was, I think it was Wade's mother, or was it Jane? Either way, one of the guys' mothers said that she like danced or celebrated when Michael Jackson died because because he couldn't hurt any more kids. And at the same time, in that same documentary, you hear him saying that he didn't tell her that Michael Jackson abused her until after Michael died. So they aired that. The U.S. version airs that. So it's they're contradicting themselves in this documentary that aired in the U.S. Just the way he edited it, that was a little sloppy. Also, when he when what's the guy, Dan Reed, the director of the documentary, when he appeared on the After Leaving Neverland special that aired on OWN with Oprah Winfrey, James Safechuck, and Wade Robeson were on there as well. There was a clip, I guess they asked him why he didn't air anybody that was disputing these charges that were put out there. As far as, there are people that's like, man, Michael didn't do this, Michael didn't molest me, Michael didn't do, all that kind of stuff. And he was like, that's not compelling television to air opposing views or something like. I mean, man, Razorfist got all this stuff in here. Like I said, part 3, I thought it was. I was shocked. I was like, man, I thought I saw everything. Not to mention, some of y'all have pointed me to different websites. There's a website with MJ Facts where they pretty much go, hey, Michael's a pedophile, blah blah blah, all this. So I'm trying to be fair. If whatever biases I might have, if you have some information that's valid, he's like, hey, Antonio, look at this. You said this in the video, look at this. And so I've been looking, and then other people will come in and go, hey, check this out. Because the only reason I know about Razorfist is because a lot of you guys there was so many of you guys that was like, man, go check out Razorfist, man, because he's beating this thing up. And I got to tell you again, Razorfist is the receipt king, man. He got all that. He got all the receipts. He's not just talking. If you have a right to your opinion, but if you just go, Michael's a pedo, and I go, okay, why is he a pedo? He did this, he did that, he did that. Okay. He got proven not guilty in court. Yes, he settled with the other kid. Even though some of his lawyers said he probably shouldn't have settled that case, but they had all kind of things going on at that time, and it just seemed like nothing would happen. But I always thought, if you feel like you're not guilty and someone's accusing you of molesting kids, don't pay a dime. I don't care if you got to burn everything to the ground. Don't settle, because that's one thing I've noticed, that people that like Michael Jackson, people that don't like Michael Jackson, have always said, if he's not guilty, why did he pay the kid that first time? And that keeps coming up. I'm talking about people that like Michael, people that don't like Michael, all say the same thing. So I'm of that school of thought where if you're innocent, even though your lawyers and yeah, there were lawyers that told him, it's like, Michael, it's gonna cost you so much money to keep fighting this thing. You can't put a price on your reputation, man. So this man's dead, and it still comes up that he paid that first boy off. So it probably would have been better for him just to not pay and just fight. No matter how much money it cost him in the short term, it cost him a bunch of money, and it cost him his reputation in the long term. But again, check out the Michael Jackson rebuttal part 3 on Razorfist channel, and obviously, I know it's going to get spicy in the comments section again. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap this video up. And if you want to reach out to me, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and right here on this YouTube channel. Everywhere is at Ikari Press. And if you type in IkariPress.com, it will take you directly to my Indiegogo campaign for my comic book series brand with the phenomenal Kanan White. We're on Teespring. We're on Amazon.com. The links to those are in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe. I'm out.